Hello and welcome to this workshop. My name is Dr. Caroline Gibbs and I'm clinical psychologist for the Children's Wellbeing Service in South West London and St George's Mental Health Trust. And this is the first in a 4-part series where we're going to be looking at how to support your child to improve their sleep. Parts 1 to 3 are aimed at the parents of children or younger adolescents, and part 4 includes more relevant information for the parents of adolescents. And in part 1, we're going to start looking at developing good habits for a better night's sleep. So why is the Children's Wellbeing Service focused on sleep? Well, parents and carers often report to us that one of the things they would most like to improve in their household is their child's sleep. We know that sleep difficulties in children have risen significantly over the past decade. So in 2012 to 2013, 6,549 under 16s were admitted to hospital with a diagnosis of sleep disorder. But this rose massively in 2018 to 2019, all the way up to 11,313 young people. Our service has a particular interest in sleep because we know that sleep and mental health are strongly connected. High quality sleep is correlated with better mental health. And many parents report that children experience anxiety about bedtime. So it might be about the dark or perhaps being separated from them. We also know that COVID and the changes in routine with numerous lockdowns coming out of school has impacted many people's sleep, and adults included. But there might be a number of other reasons why your child or adolescent is struggling with their sleep. And it's really important to say that a child's sleep habits are only a problem if they're negatively impacting you or your child. So whilst you might not mind spending several hours every evening settling your child, if they're very overactive or tired the next day, then this does become problematic for them. And another example parents often come to us with is where perhaps when they've been younger, they haven't minded co-sleeping, but as their child is getting older, this is becoming more problematic. So it's also really important to say that whilst there are common methods which might help to contribute to a better night's sleep, we recognise that every family is different and what works for your family might not work for someone else's. People's choices about how their family decide to sleep can often lead others to having very strong feelings or thoughts about your choices. As a parent or carer, you've perhaps received a lot of advice about your child's sleep, whether asked for or not, right from birth. So we tend to ask, is it working for you and is it working for your child? We know that a good night's sleep has a range of positive benefits. So your child will be more alert, focused and able to think clearly. They will get the health benefits and be able to repair and rest the body. Your child will also be better placed to manage daily stresses and to regulate their emotions effectively if they're getting good quality sleep, and their mood is likely to be improved. There's also lots of evidence now to suggest that good sleep helps to maintain healthy weight. And when we think about relationships at home and communication, people tend to report getting on better with one another after they've had a good night's sleep. So let's take a closer look at how sleep works. So we all have a body clock, and this is known as our circadian rhythm. And our body clock helps us to feel awake or sleepy at certain times of the day by releasing chemicals in the brain to support our sleep. And there are certain things that we can do to regulate and strengthen our body clock. So these are some top tips. So we suggest to avoid daytime naps, particularly once children are aged about 3 or above. For small children, we advise no drinks 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. It's best not to go to bed hungry or on a very full stomach. We'd strongly recommend limiting caffeine consumption. It takes about 5 hours for caffeine to leave the body, and it's not just found in tea and coffee, but also chocolate, energy drinks, fizzy drinks, protein bars, and often in headache or cold medication. It's also really important to avoid blue light an hour before bedtime, and this is the light that's emitted by screens, so laptops, tablets, mobile phones, and games consoles. Another really important thing is that when you're getting up in the morning, it's best to get out into daylight as soon as possible, or at least to see the daylight, so opening those curtains and blinds as quickly as possible to let the body know that it is the start of the day and that it's daytime. And one of the most important things is to aim for a regular bedtime and regular wake-up time. So this slide is a really handy tool to show how much sleep your child or adolescent is likely to need according to their age. And there might be some variation here, but this just gives you a good sense of roughly how much they'll need and can help you to work out when to set their bedtime. It's also really important to think about the sleep environment. So the bedroom needs to be a place where your child can feel relaxed and calm and clear of any distractions. And many of us live in crowded conditions or perhaps on a busy road, so this can make it more difficult. So it's just about trying to create as relaxing environment as possible. One way to do this is to use calming colours in the bedroom. Using sort of blackout or very dark curtains to block out the early morning sun can be really helpful. Keeping toys and clutter out the way, especially around bedtime. And keeping noise levels to a minimum where possible. The temperature is also really key. So the ideal temperature is actually between 16 and 20 degrees. So it's often a little cooler than people expect. Obviously in warm weather, this becomes more difficult. So using thinner layers of bedding, keeping the curtains closed and the windows open during the daytime, just to let the air come through, can be helpful here. So next up in part 2, we're going to focus on the core principles of a good bedtime routine. Thank you for joining for this video.